Hi, hello. Welcome to the episode of Isaiah's Newsstand. It's your host, Isaiah Edwards. The date is December the 31st, 2024. Hopefully, this episode finds you well, in good spirits, and high hopes. As for me, I'm doing pretty good. It's the last day of the year. It's time to wrap this thing up, put a bow on it. I'm feeling pretty good. Yeah. Let's see. How has today gone so far? I woke up a bit early. I beat my OG alarm clock for the day, because technically I would be at work at this time usually. But I was just kind of chilling, and then I got a little tired, and I was like, let me go ahead and take a quick nap, a little morning nap, if you will. Then woke up again, so that was nice. I feel pretty rested for the day, so that's good. Got to go to the gym, so that felt good. Let's see here. Nothing too crazy to talk about there, but it's been nice, man. Like I'm really, in that vibe of like, hey, it's the end of the year. You're taking stock in everything you've done. You're thinking about what's to come. What do you want to do for next year, right? So, that's a vibe. I really don't want to spend too much time though getting too nostalgic, doing the highlights or anything like that. I don't know. I just never set up the podcast to really do that. I try not to, at least. And really, I spend so much time talking about myself that I just don't really feel like there's a need. I can always just run it back and listen to it if I need to do that, right? So I won't bother or bore y'all too much with that. But yeah, today has been good. It's been solid. Had a bit of some hot tamales for a snack, but other than that, it's just been working out, getting sweaty. Let's see here. The food corner from last night. Let's go ahead and talk about that. I had the Mexican beef and rice bowl. It was good. It was yummy. A bit of an addition here. I added some. I had like an extra bolillo roll that I hadn't eaten from last week. So I was like, okay, we're just go ahead and kind of do a little torta situation. Put like a piece of bacon on there, a little mustard, a little mayo, toasted it up. Actually, I added some jalapeno everything seasoning on top of like the bun. Gonna give it a little sesame action. So that was good. Nice little touch. Oh, excuse me. Had three tortillas on the side. So yeah, I mean everything kind of came together with that. I was so hungry, so that really hit the spot. But yeah, that was the food. That was the day today. Like I said, I won't keep you too much in terms of like, how is this year? How do you feel? I feel good. I really do. And I want to keep, because someone asked me, of course, it's actually, where I had a quick session, not really session, but just like, I was like on the Stairmaster talking to a friend. And like we asked each other, what our resolutions were. And for me, it really is like maintaining what I've been doing. You know what I mean? Like I've gotten so much done personally for myself in terms of fitness, in terms of life goals, knocking this out, knocking that out. I have definitely some light fun things that I'd like to, have happen. And if I can make that happen, I will definitely be screaming about that for sure. I have some other things that are more important too that I'd like to knock out. And, of course, yet again, I will be blogging about that when that happens. But, we'll see. I'm trying to keep it on the low and then we'll yap about it when it happens, no? But yeah, overall, I'm really stoked with this year. I'm really happy. I'm really satisfied, which is a really good feeling, I feel like, to end your year on, because it can be so hard to like, not be so depressed, right? I think it's a very easy thing to do to just focus on any negative thing, any worry that you might have. And I hope to my friends, my family, my dear listeners, that you're not going through that part, that you're really looking at the wins, you're looking at the W's. And if you are looking at any losses, any negatives in your life, you're looking at, well, how can we better that situation? How can we make things, improve from here in 2025? I think that's like the best way to kind of go about it. You know what I mean? But yeah, I'm rooting for you, just like I know you guys are rooting for me. And I really appreciate that. So on that note, let's go ahead and do our last startup of the year. God damn. And then we'll go ahead and get into some news. Ooh wee. Alrighty then. All right. Our first story comes from Al Jazeera. Yemen's Houthis defiant after new U.S. strikes. The spokesperson of Yemen's Houthi rebels, Mohammed Abdul Salam, said that his country would continue to defend itself after several U.S. strikes targeted facilities in the capital, excuse me, Sana'a. The U.S. aggression on Yemen is a blatant violation of the sovereignty of an independent state and blatant support for Israel to encourage it to continue its crimes of genocide against the people of Gaza, said Abdul Salam on Tuesday, after strikes were conducted by the U.S. for a second day. So, yeah, they hit them up Monday and Tuesday. The U.S. Said it carried out attacks against targets in the Houthi-controlled capital Sana'a and coastal locations in Yemen on both Monday and Tuesday. On December 30th and 31st, the U.S. Navy ships and aircraft targeted a Houthi command and control facility and advanced conventional weapon, or ACW, production and storage facilities that included missiles and uncrewed aerial vehicles, or UAVs. The U.S. military's Central Command, or CENTCOM, said in a post on X. The Houthi-run Al-Masirah, we're going to say Masirah, TV reported that a total of 12 air raids were launched by U.S. military jets targeting two separate districts in Sana'a. So yeah, this is a bit of an update on the situation there. I know last time we talked about the airport strike from Israel, and yeah, 3 people were killed in that. I don't think I actually reported that part. I know a lot of the focus was on the fact that a UN member was there, and he was conducting business and was caught up in that crossfire, and they're like, oh, we didn't know that. We were just trying to blow this place up, and we didn't really give a shit. But oops. But yeah, I mean, it just kind of goes to show further aggression. I mean, yes, you can say, well, oh, the Houthis are doing strikes and, performing terrorist actions, da 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 da. But it's like, at the end of the day, this shit is now definitely, and always has been, a tit for tat situation. And you definitely get to see the 2-for-1 at play here, where you have Israel, not just Israel doing this, but you also have like U.S. not just complicit, but supporting and doing their own strikes, to help out Israel in this matter. So, I like to, talk about that kind of shit. Felt relevant. So go ahead and starting off with that. I'm not going to get too into details there, but I mean, I'm sure there are more if you would like to read it. That's why I mentioned the source. But also I wanted to kind of just, hop and mention this story as well. Gaza babies dying from the cold as winter temperatures drop. This is from the BBC, but I'm really not going to hit it. Just kind of using it for reference. I believe 6 babies in Gaza have died due to just the poor temperatures, the lack of civilian infrastructure, and then lack of healthcare infrastructure. Because why? The IDF, Israel has been doing strike after strike after strike, focus strikes on any kind of hospital, healthcare facility. So to the point that you don't have any resources. And if you have babies, newborns, it is a dice roll on whether or not you're getting through this winter right now. So it is one of those things where it's worth covering. The details are pretty grim. They're pretty, upsetting. But it's just worth noting that this is something that is going on. And, you can try to say, well, this isn't something that, Israel is responsible for. This is just, an incidental thing. But it's no, this is a constant, ongoing, grinding assault. And this is, yet again, another ramification from this. Just with the sewers and the lack of food, there's so many things that happen because of this shit. And it's we're just trying to defend ourselves, says Israel. But it's no, you were trying to eviscerate these people. You were trying to erase them. Holy. From the babies to the elderly, this is a calculated thing. And you're saying, once again, this is all because of a day that happened, in 2023? No, dude, it's not that. It's been going on way before that. It'll continue on way after that. And it's frustrating and it's upsetting. And, once again, I know I'm dwelling on it a bit, but it's always worth noting as long as it keeps fucking happening. So yeah. We're also going to go ahead and just move along, though, to the next story. as it loads up here. Give me a second. From NBC News. Puerto Rico plunges into darkness as power outage hits more than 1.3 million customers on New Year's Eve. Puerto Rico suffered the latest in a string of widespread power outages Tuesday that left 1.3 million customers, or most of the island, in the dark. More than a million energy customers were without power across the U.S. territory since 5:30 a.m. due to an infrastructure problem at a power plant on the island's southern coast. Energy company Luma said in an update on X Tuesday morning. Around 1:30 p.m. local time, Luma said in a statement that its initial efforts had restored power to about 3% of customers impacted, with restoration to 44,700 customers across the metro area and the island of Culebra. Power was also restored to the critical Centro Medico and Municipal Hospital in San Juan. As of 3 p.m., more than 73,000 customers across the island had seen their power restored, said the company, adding that it would continue prioritizing critical customers, including hospitals, Puerto Rico aqueduct and sewer authority facilities, and critical loads. But yeah, I mean, I can understand how this is a very frustrating thing to have to go through during the holidays. Like, this is supposed to be a new year where, you're coming off of fucking Christmas and shit. And it's like, no, we have no power. So yeah, it's definitely a frustrating situation. I think it's an added slap in the face that this isn't a U.S. territory. I mean, obviously, I know these things can happen anywhere and everywhere. And especially, I think back to, like, I want to say this was like a year or two ago, maybe a little bit more, but it was a winter in Texas where literally shit had actually froze and Texas was fucked. You know what I mean? And it's one of those things where it's like, yeah, we are a superpower. We do our fucking shit, I guess. But at the end of the day, when the shit hits, we're always somehow finding ways to get caught unaware, which is very frustrating. And, I think it's even more so when you have a situation where this is a U.S. territory and it's like, oh, well, our focus and emphasis isn't on this, You have this, like, I believe Luma's a private company. I think they took over for the government because people were, like, very upset with how things were going. I might be getting that wrong there. But, even then you have people being like, well, this is terrible. Like, this is not working out for us. Let's see here. So, yeah, I just wanted to, just bring attention to that, shed some light on that. Hopefully, the people of Puerto Rico will be able to get power sooner than later. Oh, and the reason, too, was there was, like, an underground cable that had an issue. I think that was the cause of the problems in terms of from Luma and what they're saying, like, what brought this about. So, yeah, moving on right along, let's go ahead and talk about Gitmo, or should I say Guantanamo Bay. From CNN, U.S. repatriates Tunisian detainee held without charge at Guantanamo Bay since the day it opened. The U.S. has repatriated a detainee from its military prison at Guantanamo Bay in Cuba to Tunisia, the Pentagon announced Monday, the fourth detainee to be transferred this month. Raida bin Saleh al-Yazidi, 59, was determined to be eligible for transfer after a rigorous interagency review process, the U.S. Department of Defense said in a statement, more than 22 years after he was first brought to the facility. Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin notified Congress about his intent to repatriate Yazidi to Tunisia in January of 2024. He was never charged with a crime. So can you imagine that? So January 11th, 2002, you just been chilling here. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. It's wild to me that, like, this is just a constant thing that has been coming out of a facility like this. And it's just like, we had Obama saying, like, hey, I'm going to shut this shit down. and then it gets opened up by Trump, and then Biden comes back and with the promise of like, hey, we're gonna fucking do something about this, and the best we can do is kind of trickle out some remaining people here, and we're gonna hope that when Trump comes back into power, that what happens? Obviously, it's just not gonna get closed, which is fucking crazy to think about, but like. We hope that he's not going to add more people to this fucking shit, this fucking gulag that we have here. Um, Rights groups say Yazidi, a Tunisian national, has been incarcerated at Guantanamo Bay since the day it opened on January 11th, 2002. Like, once again, they did not charge him for anything. Now, granted, they're saying, hey, this guy had association with the militant group Al Qaeda, but you didn't prove that. Like, you didn't go through anything to actually say, hey, we have something that sticks here. And he's been in detention since 2002, dude. Like, I think for me, like, just kind of going back to the Obama thing, when Obama got in, I was cheering. I was fucking stomping on tables. I was stoked. You know what I mean? I was in a good mood about that shit, right? I thought we really did it. I thought we really had some change happening. And I remember we got months into it, and like, this dude made a promise that he was going to shut down Guantanamo Bay. And like, after the first term, like, okay, you've been talking about it and shit, and we're trying to make strides. It didn't happen though. And then I think like what we had put in the policy to make it a thing, and then Trump comes into power, and then it completely goes to nothing. And it's like, so Obama didn't do shit about that. And that was my first like red flag, I think, for Obama. I was like, okay, I am noticing some problems. Hey, I'm still a fan. I'm still sticking with it at this point. But like, that seems a bit off. That seems a bit stinky. And then of course Biden, Troubadour is the same kind of fucking shit that he's going to close down Guantanamo Bay. But yet, here we are. The shit is still open, and we have another Trump presidency where it's like, you bet your fucking ass I'm going to keep that bitch open. So, here we are. Gitmo is still a thing. I still fucking hate that shit. It is worth mentioning, though, I think up to like 4 people have been released. Let's see here. Earlier this month, the U.S. transferred Mohammed Abdul Malik Bajabu, who is detained since 2007 but never charged, to Kenya. Additionally, 2 detainees were repatriated to Malaysia: Mohammed Farik bin Amin and Mohammed Nazir bin Lep pled guilty to war crimes for an affiliate of Al Qaeda that carried out attacks on Bali in 2002 and a 2003 attack on the JW Marriott Hotel in Jakarta, the U.S. Department of Defense said in a statement. And it was kind of reading the thing I was kind of talking about here. President Barack Obama also promised to shut down Guantanamo Bay when he campaigned for office, setting up the Office of Military Commissions and Periodic Review Board system during his tenure, but he failed to close the prison during his 8 years in office. During President-elect Trump's first term in office, he signed an executive order in January 2018 to keep the facility open, reversing Obama's policy. Trump also raised the prospect of additional prisoners being held at the facility as part of his decision. So yeah, I love that. I think that's so great. Maybe one day we'll shut down some shit like this. But I've also kind of realized too, as I've gotten older, like, Guantanamo Bay is one of the many fucking things that we as a, American, a Western hegemony, we hold on to things like this. We keep things like this because, we fucking can. And who's going to fucking stop us, I guess, is the logic and the mantra of it. And, when we feel so inclined, when we want to like feel more morally, better and like superior, then we talk about maybe we shouldn't have this kind of shit. But then, we oscillate back and forth. Or I imagine, okay, you shut down Guantanamo Bay. Who's to say we don't make a fucking new one? Like, so I understand that this, bitching about this is only runs so deep, but it is just one of those things where I think it reminds me about when I was younger and I had a little bit more optimism about this shit. And I was like, man, it's fucked up that Guantanamo Bay is a thing, the things that have gone down on that shit. But maybe one day we'll actually see that shit close and we'll see America be a better place and a better bastion of like, human rights and shit like that. But no, this shit is very cyclical. We find ways to get worse as we go. But yeah, it is what it is. I don't want to be too morbid, I guess. I don't know. It's the end of the year. We're not about to go into a new year. But yeah, let's go ahead and move along. I just wanted to highlight that shit. And we will close out in South Korea. We got to talk about Yoon Suk Yeol again. Shit, man. They got a price on your, not a price on your head, but there's a warrant out for you, buddy. God damn, we got to talk about that shit. But yeah, let's go ahead and do our last break and we will close it out. Oh, yeah. All right, once again from CNN. South Korean court issues arrest warrant for embattled President Yoon Suk Yeol. A South Korean court on Tuesday approved an arrest warrant for President Yoon Suk Yeol, the embattled leader who plunged the country into political chaos by his shock decision to declare martial law nearly a month ago. It is the first time a sitting South Korean president has faced an arrest warrant, and the dramatic new showdown between investigators and the president came the same day. Extraordinary new details emerged in the night Yoon tried to shutter parliament. Yoon was stripped of his presidential powers after South Korea's parliament voted to impeach him earlier this month after some members of his own ruling party turned on him following his refusal to resign over the December 3rd decree. So yeah, let's go ahead and get into some of the updates. It's been a few times that they've tried to get Yoon Suk Yeol to come to court, to go through this whole process, and he's been like, no, I'm just not gonna fucking show up. And so they finally have gotten to the point where they're like, okay, we have to issue a warrant for your for you to come. Like, we're gonna make you come. Pause. But yeah, just kind of, I actually wanted to kind of hit some of these details because they are new. In a 10-page summary from the former defense minister's prosecution indictment report on Friday, Yoon had allegedly instructed the military to use firearms to break the doors, if necessary, to remove lawmakers gathering inside the main chamber. Haven't you entered yet? What's taking so long? Break down the doors and drag them out, Yoon allegedly said, according to prosecution summary. Shoot the doors and shoot the doors to break in and remove them. The document quoted the president saying. That's crazy shit. And it just, once again, it goes to show that this is someone throwing the political equivalent of a temper tantrum. He wanted what he wanted, and he felt that he was totally empowered to do so. And it's like, dude, you sound like a fucking tiny tyrant. Like, this is manlet behavior. It's crazy that he went about it this way. Like, at the end of the day, if things were looking bad for you politically, you just fucking take the L. You know what I mean? That's how this shit should fucking go, dude. But he's like, no, I have the power to stop this shit, so I'm going to. And now he's in this fucking situation. And then technically the guy who took his place is also in this situation because he got impeached, and now there's another guy. Let's see here. I am going to skim past some of the details here because I wanted to kind of hit a highlighted portion. Oh, did I go past it? Boop-a-doo-doo. Give me 1 second here. But it looks like, I know I'm getting his name wrong. I believe it's Choi. Choi. Only two days into his presidential duties, Choi is tasked with not only the political crisis, but also leading the country in mourning after. Okay, they're talking about the aviation thing. I've gone past what I wanted to. Here we go. Sorry about that. The 9-member court currently only has 6 justices due to a delay in filing vacancies left by retired justices, further complicating matters. However, on Tuesday, acting President Choi Sang-mok, I should know, but I'm fucking it up, said he will appoint 2 justices immediately and appoint a 3rd justice when ruling and opposition parties agree. So that's a big move because essentially we're doing, the packing of the court here. And he's going along with this part, provided at least with the 3rd guy they agree. But at least that's more numbers. That's more of what the opposition wanted in terms of potentially getting a positive affirmative vote in impeaching Yoon Suk Yeol here. So it looks like, Choi isn't necessarily fighting it as much as his predecessor, Han Duck So, I believe, who, like I said, is also technically on the block in terms of impeachment. He's going to have his court hearing in like 180 days from then. So yeah, I mean, the wheels of justice apparently are moving here, and we will be seeing Yoon potentially in court to answer for some of this shit. But we will see, because like I said, he's been very quiet publicly. He hasn't been coming to any of the court appearances, even though they're like, hey man, you're supposed to be here. He's like, nah, fuck that shit. So yeah, Han Duck-so. Okay, I got the name right. Hell yeah. But yeah, I mean that's where we're at with Korea. That's where we're at with the world for right now, at least as of today, from those few little stories. But yeah, that's where I want to leave it. That's where we're gonna call it for today. If you'd like to help out, support the effort, you can become a newsie today. Patreon.com/News. Tomorrow's a new year. I'm going to be doing the roll call. So if you'd like to get in on that, you got like less than 24 hours. TikTok, TikTok. No worries, of course. But we'll get to it. We got time. We got months ahead. But yeah, freeways hit me up, isaiahnews1@gmail.com. Feel free to follow me or the podcast on any of the socials. Please subscribe to the YouTube. That helps out a lot. Leave a like. Leave a cool comment. Sharing is caring. And thanks so much for tuning in. Thanks so much for being a friend. And hopefully I see you soon for some more good news. I love ya. Bye-bye. Mwah.